Hi, Sweetie Pie. I'm continuing this wonderful book called Secrets of the Garden, Food Chains and the Food Web in Our Backyard. And it's like they are looking at our backyard when they write it. So it's kind of fun to see this book talk more about what we live every day. Okay, we had just finished this part where the two chickens, Maisie and Daisy, were telling us about photosynthesis. Do you remember what it was? You want to take a second? Go ahead. Exactly. Exactly. You got it right. It's when the the plants use the energy from the sun to make food out of air, water, and nutrients from the soil. Photosynthesis. And do you remember where they store this food that they make? Exactly. Roots, leaves, stems, seeds, and fruits. And these are the nutritious parts we eat. And when we eat them, they are passing their energy along to us. That's why we eat them and why we love eating them, aside from the fact that they taste so good. And they divide it into leaves, roots, fruit of the plant, stems, and leaves. And we eat all of those. And you've probably already eaten nearly all of those. I don't think you've had radishes yet. Not sure if you've had zucchini. We haven't eaten pumpkin yet, but sometimes we will. We put it in things. I'm not sure if you've had rhubarb yet, but won't be long. We have nearly all of this in the garden. The green leaves of a plant catch sunlight. Tiny holes on the underside of each leaf take in air. A plant's roots take in water and nutrients from the soil. So there's the green leaves of the plant catching the sunlight. Tiny holes on the underside of each leaf take in air. People don't think about how important that is, but it is. A plant's roots take in water and nutrients from the soil. Now they have the three things that they need: sunlight, air, and water, and the nutrients that are in the water. Sunshine, fresh air, water, and soil help the seedlings in our garden grow. Our lettuce and radishes are the first plants ready to eat. We nibble the sweet green leaves and crunch the spicy red roots. But something or someone is enjoying the vegetables as much as we are. You might be noticing that something's eating them when they're not there. So, she says, I look for a good place to hide, tiptoe in, and sit very still. You wouldn't believe the things I see. Our little garden is filled with life. Indeed. Many types of animals eat plants. People eat plants too. Plants are the first link in any food chain. There are many different interconnected food chains in the garden. A short food chain is lettuce grows, rabbit eats lettuce. Here's a picture. Well, I didn't know if I showed you this one, where she's watching to see and discovering all the life in her garden. And this is some of what she sees. I spot a small brown rabbit munching lettuce. So he's the one. The rabbit's ear twitches and our cat Honey sees it. But the rabbit is too fast. He shoots out of the garden like a rocket. Honey will be good at keeping the rabbit away from our lettuce. Indeed she will. And I have a little cat that gets one more part of her breakfast right now. Okay, Gab, let's go get some of your breakfast right now, right here. Okay, and then that's it for the morning, sweetie pie. Okay, back to this great book. One morning I noticed some ears of corn on the ground. A few of the kernels had been nibbled. Maybe a mouse discovered the fallen ears and stopped for a snack. Last fall, Mom found an empty mouse nest on the ground under her old tomato plants. The mice had woven grass and dead leaves to make a comfortable pocket and lined it with lint and downy feathers. I wonder where the mice might be living this year. I found some mouse nests, mice nests in my garage, and found one in the garden, but I think it might have been moved from somewhere. We have cats, but we have mice aplenty. Many places for them to hide. It's nice having a comfortable chair in the backyard with flowers and a fence and all these plants to look up and enjoy. I lie back and watch the clouds. High above, a hawk flies over. She turns back and begins to circle, though most of the animals I see are plant eaters, a few are meat eaters. The hawk glides down silently. In an instant, the bird snatches a grasshopper in her claws and swoops away. Yikes! Better stay in your nest, mice. There's the hawk. I saw a hawk yesterday, heard one. Then, when I went out to look to see where it was a red shouldered hawk. You could see the red right along its shoulder. It's beautiful. And I know the sound of it. Red shouldered hawk and red tailed hawk sound similar and look similar. Um, and especially when they're up flying. And this one never moved a wing that you could see. It was flying all over, but it was just riding the currents, like they say. The wings were completely outstretched the whole time, and it covered a lot of territory. Then it went to a tree uh, kind of above our yard and was looking down, but all the chickens were in their pen, so kind of moved on, or it found a smaller animal somewhere else. But these chickens, fortunately, they're up in a plane, so they're safe from the hawk right now. But hawks do kill chickens. And like it said, the hawk is a meat eater. Cats are meat eaters. We're plant eaters, although um, humans do eat some animals too. Some people eat a lot of animals. We don't very much. Okay, so back to this. Meat eaters eat other animals. So here's a longer food chain. And Maisie says, would a hawk eat a chicken? Yes, it would. Suzanne says yes, it would. A longer food chain. Corn plant grows, mouse eats corn, hawk eats mouse. So let me hold that so you can see it. Corn plant grows, mouse eats corn, hawk eats mouse. I like catching grasshoppers and other insects and spiders in the garden too, but I don't eat them. Usually I watch them for a while and let them go. Yesterday I was putting out some birdseed, and in the bin with the birdseed were a lot of spiders, and they were all the ones I saw had egg sacs. So I wonder if this is the time of year for mother spiders to have baby spiders. And the ones I saw were quite small, like they were a small kind of spider. Once I found caterpillars gnawing on Mom's pepper plants. After that, I caught as many as I could and fed them to our chickens. Look at this shiny bug. It's called a potato beetle. Potato leaves are its favorite food. If beetles eat all the potatoes' leaves, the roots may die. Maybe I should dig up this plant. We could have the potatoes for supper. Potato leaves? Yeah, I don't care as long as it doesn't eat the potato roots. That's the conversation of the family. Egads, if there are too many of these, they could eat your whole garden. Luckily, you have help. Chickens help too. We like a few caterpillars with our corn. We are omnivores. Omnivores eat both plants and meat. And by meat, they're using the term to include more generally grasshoppers, worms, insects. Those are the meat-eating creatures that eat those. And plant-eating are called herbivores, and they eat vegetables, fruits, grass, all of that are the herbivores. And omnivores mean they eat everything. And carnivores is meat eaters. So herbivores, plant eaters, those would be aphids and mites, potato beetles, white flies, snails, slugs, grasshoppers, caterpillars. So these guys will eat the plants that we're growing. These guys are meat eaters, the carnivore bugs, and they'll eat the bugs that are eating. So these guys will eat these. So these are good to have in the garden. Ladybugs, spiders, praying mantis, toads, and hawks. I never kill these. These are great to have around. Hawks, being a chicken farmer, I love them, but I'm always glad when my guys are inside when a hawk is flying overhead. It's also helpful to know that some of these beautiful caterpillars do turn into monarch butterflies and other butterflies. So I don't indiscriminately kill them. I, make sure it's a troublesome insect before I do. Luckily, you have help. That's what we just said. The chickens eat these. And so if I find some of these or find something that's not so good for the garden, I take it to the chickens and they have a very happy time of it. So here is an even longer food chain. Pepper plant grows, caterpillar eats pepper plant, hen eats caterpillar, hen lays eggs, we eat eggs. That's a food chain that we do nearly every day, right? Spiders are hunters. A few, like wolf spiders, stalk insects on the ground, but most, like garden spiders, build sticky webs that help them catch their prey. There are webs all over, and they're so amazing and beautiful. And often you can find a caught insect inside the web that the spider then eats. So here's another food chain. Potato plant grows, beetle eats the potato plants, spider eats beetle. That's one food chain. Here's another one. Potato plant grows, beetle eats the potato leaves, spider eats beetle, robin eats spider. So even the animals that aren't us are having a meal in our garden all the time, every day. There's things that are eating. This book is just talking about a few of them, but the microorganisms in the soil, the worms, the beetles, all of those are living and eating all over the garden all the time. Even the compost pile. You put old bread on it one day, the next day it's almost gone because it's been eaten by all of the worms and critters and things inside the compost pile. It's amazing. Lots of different insects are busy eating plants or other insects. The spider is busy with his beetle. They don't seem to notice that a robin has been watching. A beetle or a spider would make a good snack for a robin. Either one of these the robin could eat. And up here you see the caterpillar eating leaves, snail eating leaves, ladybug eating aphid or something. I don't know, maybe that's a fly being eaten by a grasshopper. I'm not sure. Or praying mantis, I mean. Onward. Oh, I'm talking too long again. All of a sudden, I see the robin scratching and pecking at the soil. He's found an earthworm. As he pulls, the worm stretches like a rubber band. Then, snap, it pops out and the bird swallows it in one gulp. You'll see this a lot. Robins don't come to feeders. They eat on the grass, on the ground, and in different places around the yard. And when you see them on the grass, this is often what they're looking for. No arms, no legs, no hands, no feet, but it's a tug of war. Why is it so hard to pull the worm out of the ground? The little girl asks. He has tiny bristles that help him hang on to the walls of his burrow, her mother says, which I didn't know. Now I do. We use our cultivators to loosen up the soil around the plants so water can get down to the roots. We spread compost to add nutrients to the soil. Cultivator could be a hoe, it could be a tiller. We spread compost to add nutrients to the soil, but the worms are really better at helping the soil than we are. They work at it every day and never seem to get tired. This is what they do underground. Worms are a special part of a food chain. When plants die, they fall to the ground and begin to rot. The worms eat the rotting plants. As the worms tunnel around, they leave digested plant material behind in the soil. The digested plant matter returns important nutrients to the soil. The worms also loosen up the soil as they tunnel. Then, water and air get down to the plant roots more easily. Worms help the plants grow. They help a lot. And when you dig up a shovel full of soil and if you see a lot of worms in it, you've got good soil. If you do one and there's no worms, you need to do something to that soil because it's going to be very hard for things to grow. I've had both kinds, but because I've gardened this for so long and added things back to the soil for decades, I have good soil. I have really good soil. The plants depend on the worms, which the only thing I did was put the things there so they would do what they do to make it good soil. It turns out that what we do for the soil isn't as good as what these worms and other critters do for the soil. The plants depend on the worms and on the sunshine and fresh air. They depend on the rain and on the good, rich nutrients in the soil. And this little boy has been doing this for a couple months now, and he's very excited. And he yells over to Maisie, "Oh boy, my beets are ready." And he has some beautiful beets. I love beets. His sister says, "I prefer zucchini." Their cat says, "Mice are nice." The chicken says, "Bugs are better." You see, everyone eats well from a garden. Everyone gets their favorites: beets, zucchini, mice, and bugs. We depend on the plants. Without them, there would be no food for animals or for people. We're all connected. And interestingly, this is the one picture I don't get in this book. They're showing a teapot, apples, something else, a sandwich that looks like a hamburger, and cupcakes, which is interesting because maybe they could have shown things that kind of did come from the garden. Well, those might have. Every food chain begins with a plant. Together, all the food chains in the garden make up a food web. Every member of the food web is important for a healthy garden. People are part of the food web too. So here's an example of a food web. Let's follow one of them. Hawk eats the rabbit. Rabbit eats the green pepper. The green pepper does not eat the rabbit. I guess a grasshopper. I guess the grasshopper eats the green pepper. The potato, the mouse eats the potato. The arrows go a little differently than I expect. But anyway, this is kind of interesting to see and very true. And it's going on right there, right now, all the time out in the garden. Ecology is the study of all the living things in one area or environment and how they, ouch. If you think claws are going to help you get food, you're wrong. Be right there, Munchie. Ecology is the study of all the living things in one area or environment and how they relate to each other. The word ecology comes from the Greek word oikos, which means house or home. Any living thing's environment is its home. These are wonderful chickens. They're almost like teachers. I like to call the garden our summer home. Our real home is made of wood. It has 4 walls and a roof and floor that keep out the sun and rain and the dirt. It's a good house, really, but our garden home is different. Only my family and I live in our wooden home, but in our garden home, we make way for the neighbors. For the rabbits, birds, spiders, beetles, it is their summer home too. And fall and winter. As autumn nears, the days get shorter and cooler. We harvest the vegetables that are left. The time has come to clean our tools and put them away for the winter. Time for the garden to rest. That's what we're doing now, getting ready for the winter in the garden out here too. The animals have eaten and stored fat for the winter months ahead. We are busy storing food. We can tomatoes, pickle beans, freeze corn, and hang baskets of potatoes in the cellar. We do a lot of that too. And they're sitting around the wood stove planning the next year's garden as it's snowing outside. And the mom says, let's plant strawberries next year, or maybe pumpkins. And the dad and his daughter are reading the seed catalogs. Nice and cozy inside and well fed because they ate well from the things they grew. It's a little sad saying goodbye, but I know that as we sit together through the long winter evenings, we'll be having fun planning our next garden and dreaming about the warm days of spring. Maisie and Daisy are reading about it too. And here we grow things. Here it is again. We grow things in the fall and the winter. And before you know it, it's time to plant seeds for next spring, which we do in the winter. So this was a great book. Okay, sweetie pie. Oops, sorry, it's so long. Have a great day. Bye-bye.